So, once again, the scriptures all tie together nicely this morning. And we see a lot of references to looking and seeing. In Samuel, we're told not to look on his appearance or on the height of his stature, for the Lord does not see as mortals see. They look on outward appearance, but the Lord looks on the heart. And in Paul, we also have seeing and not seeing. We were in darkness, and now we are in light. And the imagery, in a sense, comes full circle when Jesus uses a person who cannot see, who lives in physical darkness, to teach a variety of lessons. Jesus sees the blind man, and right away everybody starts judging. Oh, maybe his parents were sinners. And he says, don't judge. Don't look at his appearance. He is here like this so that God might work through him. Work while we have the opportunity, while it's light out, literally as well as metaphorically, and we can see what we're doing. We can work miracles with the simple things in life, spit and dirt. We don't need to be special or important. We just need to be aware of and use what is at hand. And I think this one is very evident in our 40 Days and 40 Rights Challenge. Can a smile, a cup of coffee, letting someone in line in front of you make a miracle? And what does that do to a person's heart or their ability to see the world as a place where, yes, there is kindness and surprise? And I believe we're also seeing that in a tremendous amount of kindness in the world these days as people leave their shells, leave the darkness of excessive self-absorption maybe, and start looking around. And I think another lesson that we get from the gospel is that we hear the blind man himself. Everybody's saying, are you the blind man? And are you really the guy? And is this your son? And are these your parents? And he says, I know what I know. I was blind and now I can see. I am in the light. Trust yourself. Trust your heart. You know what you know. I think one pervading theme in all of this for me is the juxtaposition of light and dark, the yin and the yang. We need the cold to appreciate the warm. We need the short to understand the tall. We need the darkness to know the light. And while we are usually more comfortable in the light, we learn in and from the darkness. Many important things happen in darkness. Seeds germinate, nocturnal animals do their cleanup work, the physical body heals and restores. And in ancient times, people feared the night and feared darkness because, there might be a saber-toothed tiger hiding behind the next rock. And the famous American writer Annie Dillard, she says that even though we don't have these kinds of worries, we still find ourselves often squirming in the dark. After thousands of years, she writes, we're still strangers to darkness, fearful aliens in an enemy camp with arms crossed over our chests. Well, what better time to look at the juxtaposition of light and dark than during Lent, when the balance of these things leads to Easter? And ironically, what better time to look at this than in the midst of a global crisis? Just a few days ago, we celebrated, or at least were aware of, the vernal equinox. That moment when dark and light are in perfect balance. We emerge from the darkness of winter and move toward the lightness of spring and summer. The equinox signals that we can begin to emerge from Lent and toward Easter. That balance and the light of the coming full moon pull us forward. Hugh Garrett, a Princeton University physicist, way back in 1957 wrote, there are moments in time when it becomes possible to jump from one reality to another by creating a quantum bridge. These windows of opportunity to change, he called choice points. And in a sense, the blind man jumped from the reality of being blind to the reality of seeing. Jesus created the choice point, and the blind man accepted. I looked at some of the research on people who are blind from birth, and not all of them wanted to see. And some of those who actually got their sight back wished they could go back and had preferred being blind. Choice points are times when conditions make it possible to begin one path of experience and then to change the outcome of that experience by changing the focus of our awareness, what we watch. Jesus is always getting us to change the focus of our awareness, getting us to look somewhere else other than the ordinary. Stop looking at outward appearances, he says. Look inside. And so as we move forward in Lent, as we move forward in a global pandemic, where are we looking? At faults and failures, at mistakes, at those who hoard? Or we can watch for things for which we can be grateful. We can pray for those who live in such fear that they need to hoard. And we can look for a smile, a helping hand, a container of soup. And in so doing, we can allow God to work through us as he did through the blind man. Amen.